Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a story that honestly has captivated imaginations for over 2 centuries now, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving.
It really has. It's so much more than just, a Halloween story.
Exactly. It's a real masterclass in American folklore, atmosphere, even psychological suspense, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. There's a lot going on beneath the surface.
So our mission today is to take the audiobook transcript you shared and really unpack Irving's genius. We want to look at how he builds that unforgettable setting,
Well, the setting is key.
develops these characters who just stick with you, and leaves us with this mystery that, well, it still gets debated.
It absolutely does. Let's dive in.
Okay, so our journey starts on the eastern shore of the Hudson River. Irving sets the scene near Tarrytown, but then zooms into this secluded
Mm-hmm.
little valley, or rather lap of land among high hills.
Right, and he immediately establishes this feeling of quietness,
Yeah.
almost supernatural quietness. A small brook, the birds.
It sounds peaceful.
But it's more than just peace, isn't it? There's this influence. Absolutely. That's the crucial part. Irving describes this drowsy, dreamy influence hanging over everything. It makes the people there walk in a continual reverie.
So it's not just a sleepy town. The place itself actively affects your mind.
Exactly. It makes them prone to marvelous beliefs, trances, visions, seeing strange sights, hearing things. This witching power, as he calls it.
It sounds like the perfect breeding ground for ghost stories.
It is. Irving sets it up perfectly. He even suggests reasons an old German doctor, an Indian chief, layering the mystery.
And this isolation helps preserve these beliefs, right? While the world rushes by elsewhere.
Precisely. These little Dutch valleys are like nooks of still water beside a fast stream. They stay fixed, holding on to their customs, and yeah, they're legends. It makes the whole supernatural angle feel completely plausible within that world.
So the place itself feels almost like a character predisposing people to, well, believe.
It really does. And that brings us to the main event, legends-wise.
The dominant spirit. What is it?
It's the apparition of a figure on horseback without a head, the Headless Horseman.
Ah, the classic. A Hessian trooper, right. Lost his head in the Revolutionary War.
That's the story. Hit by a cannonball. And now he rides at night, searching for his head, trying to get back to the churchyard before dawn.
He's not just a ghost. He's the ghost of Sleepy Hollow.
He is. He embodies the place's haunted imagination.
Okay, so into this enchanted, slightly spooky valley comes our main guy, Ichabod Crane, from Connecticut, a schoolmaster.
A worthy wight, as Irving calls them. But that description.
Wow. Yeah, talk about memorable. He's tall, exceedingly lank, long arms, long legs, hands dangling.
Feet like shovels. And the head, small, flat, huge ears, big glassy green eyes, that long sniped nose, like a weathercock on his neck.
Irving compares him to the genius of famine or a scarecrow eloped from a cornfield. It's quite a picture.
It is, and it's deliberate. It makes him comical, an outsider. Visually distinct from the sturdy Dutch locals, almost sets him up for ridicule, or worse.
He seems kind of cobbled together, and his schoolhouse sounds just as basic.
Oh yeah, a low building of one large room, logs, patched windows secured with a bent branch. It mirrors him, makeshift.
But he's not just some awkward teacher. He's got layers. He's strict, spare the rod, but also adaptable.
Very adaptable. That's key to his survival initially. After school, he plays with the older boys, walks the younger ones home, especially if they have pretty sisters or mothers who are good cooks.
Ah, resourceful. And he helps out on the farms, too.
Yep. Haymaking, mending fences, watering horses, cutting wood. He makes himself useful. He even pitches in with childcare.
But there's that other job he has, the one that gives him real social access.
Right, the singing master. He teaches psalmody, earns a few shillings, but more importantly, it gets him into people's houses.
Lets him mingle, hear the gossip, makes him a traveling gazette.
Exactly. And the locals, especially the women, they respect his great erudition because he's read several books quite through.
Including Cotton Mather's History of New England Witchcraft. That seems significant.
Hugely significant. He most firmly and potently believed it. This reveals that core contradiction in him. Small shrewdness and simple credulity.
So he's smart in some ways, but completely buys into the supernatural.
Completely. His appetite for the marvelous is huge. Living Sleepy Hollow just feeds it. No story is too wild for him. He absorbs it all.
Which makes him the perfect audience for the local legends, especially the Headless Horseman.
Oh, he loves those tales. Listens to the old Dutch wives, gets terrified, then has to walk home alone in the dark.
You can just imagine him jumping at every shadow, hearing the Hessian in every gust of wind.
Irving paints that picture so well. His belief makes him vulnerable.
So Ichabod's navigating this world of superstition and fear, and then his path gets crossed by, well, not a ghost, but maybe something more complicated.
Yes. A being that causes more perplexity to mortal man than ghosts, goblins, and the whole race of witches put together. And that was a woman, Katrina Van Tassel.
Describe her for us. She's not just a pretty face, is she?
No, she's the daughter and only child of a substantial Dutch farmer. Fresh 18, plump as a partridge, ripe and melting and rosy-cheeked. Famous for her beauty, yes, but also her vast expectations.
Meaning she stands to inherit a lot.
A lot. And Irving hints she knows it. Calls her a little of a coquette. Her dress is a mix of old and new fashions, gold ornaments, that tempting stomacher, and a provokingly short petticoat. She knows how to present herself.
Okay, so she's got charm and wealth. What about her family's place? Ichabod seems quite taken with the farm.
Oh, the farm is crucial. Her father, Baltus, is this picture of contentment and abundance. The farm itself is a stronghold, bursting with food and livestock. The barn is huge, pigeons, pigs, geese, turkeys.
And Ichabod sees all this and thinks.
Cha-ching, basically. His devouring mind's eye sees roasting pigs, pies, but then he immediately translates it into cash. Meadowlands sold, invested in wild land and shingle palaces in the wilderness.
Wow, so it's not just love, it's hardcore ambition. Katrina is the key to a whole different life for him.
Absolutely. And seeing the inside of the house confirms it. The pewter, the mahogany, the general air of prosperity, that seals it. His only study becomes how to win her.
But there's a pretty major obstacle, or rather, a rival.
A very formidable one. Abraham Van Brunt, better known as Brom Bones.
Brom Bones. Even the name sounds tough. How's he different from Ichabod?
Complete opposite. Brom is a burly, roaring, roistering blade. Broad-shouldered, strong, famed for his horsemanship. He's the leader of the local toughs, the alpha male, all physical prowess and boisterous energy.
Where Ichabod is lanky and intellectual, Brom is, well, Brom.
Exactly. And his horse, Daredevil, is just like him, full of mettle and mischief. Wild, powerful, a perfect match.
And Brom has his sights set on Katrina, too.
He singled her out. And the whispers say she doesn't exactly push him away. So Ichabod knows he can't compete head-on. Brom would flatten him.
So how does Ichabod approach it? He's described as a supplejack.
Meaning he bends but doesn't break easily. He uses quieter methods, gently insinuating, leverages his position as singing master to get close to her.
Smart. Playing to his strengths. How does Brom react to this skinny rival moving in on his territory?
Not well. A deadly feud starts simmering. Brom wants a fight, but Ichabod avoids it. So Brom turns to rustic waggery, practical jokes.
What kind of jokes?
Oh, classic schoolboy stuff, ramped up. He smokes out the singing school, breaks into the schoolhouse, and turns everything upside down, making Ichabod think witches held a meeting there.
That's pretty intense.
And he mocks Ichabod in front of Katrina, even trains a dog to whine ridiculously and presents it as Ichabod's rival for her affections. It's relentless, designed to humiliate him. Tags the ill-fated party and the ride home.
Okay, things are escalating. Then comes the invitation to the merrymaking or quilting frolic at the Van Tassels. This feels like a turning point.
It is. Ichabod is thrilled. Spends extra time getting ready, borrowing a horse from a farmer, Hans Van Ripper.
Ah, the horse. Gunpowder. Tell us about gunpowder.
Oh, gunpowder. Another amazing description. A broken-down plow horse, gaunt, shaggy, neck like a yew, head like a hammer. One bad eye, one eye with the gleam of a genuine devil.
So, not exactly a noble steed.
Not at all. And Ichabod looks ridiculous on him. Short stirrups, elbows sticking out, coat flapping. Irving calls him an apparition as is seldom to be met with in broad daylight. It's pure comedy, but it also subtly links Ichabod with the spectral, even before the real haunting begins.
The ride there is beautiful, though. Autumn scenery. But Ichabod's mind is elsewhere.
Mostly on food and Katrina. He sees apples, corn, pumpkins, and instantly imagines pies and dainty slapjacks made by her delicate little dimpled hand. It's that mix again, gluttony and ambition, all tied to her.
He arrives at the party. It's a big affair. Brom Bones is there, naturally.
Brom's the hero of the scene, of course. And the party itself, the food, Irving lays it on thick. Cakes, donuts, crullers, pies, apple, peach, pumpkin ham, beef, shad, chicken.
Making your mouth water just hearing it.
Right. It's a sumptuous time. Ichabod just gorges himself, his heart swelling, imagining himself lord of all this scene.
Then comes the dancing. Ichabod fancies himself a dancer.
He does, prides himself on it. His loosely hung frame in full motion, clattering around. He dances with Katrina, which does not please Brom Bones, who sits brooding.
After dancing, the mood shifts a bit. The older folks gather. Time for stories.
Yes, smoking, gossiping, war stories. But inevitably, it turns to ghosts and apparitions. The neighborhood is rich in legendary treasures.
And Irving gives that explanation again about why these stories thrive here.
Yeah, in these settled communities, ghosts have people to haunt, people who remember and believe. The contagion is in the air. It really underscores how central these tales are to their identity.
They talk about Major Andre's tree, the woman in white, but the main topic is...
Always the Headless Horseman, especially his haunts near the church and the old wooden bridge.
And Brom tells his story here, right? About racing the horseman.
Yes. With typical swagger, he claims he raced the Hessian on Daredevil and would have won, but the ghost vanished in a flash of fire right at the church bridge.
That detail about the bridge seems convenient or important.
Extremely important. It plants a seed in Ichabod's mind. The bridge means safety. Ichabod then counters with his own spooky tales from Cotton Mather. The whole atmosphere gets thick with dread.
So the party winds down. Ichabod stays behind for a private word with Katrina, hoping for, what? A commitment.
Presumably. We don't know what's said, but the outcome is clear. He emerges with an air quite desolate and chapfallen, like someone who robbed a henhouse and got caught, basically.
Ouch. Rejected. So he sets off home, feeling pretty low.
Very low, heavy-hearted, and crestfallen. And it's the very witching time of night. Dark, spooky, all those ghost stories come flooding back. Every sound terrifies him.
Irving really builds the tension here. The whistling wind, the groaning branches.
It's masterful psychological buildup. Ichabod's own fear is doing half the work before anything even happens.
Then he reaches Wiley's swamp, and his horse, Gunpowder, decides to be difficult.
Right when you don't want your horse to act up. He refuses to cross the bridge, bolts into the bushes. Perfect timing for trouble.
And trouble arrives. He hears a sound, sees a shape.
A plushy tramp. Then, something huge, misshapen, and towering in the shadows. A large horseman on a powerful black horse. Silent. Ominous.
Ichabod tries to sing a psalm, like for protection.
Yeah, his go-to defense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. The figure just keeps pace alongside him, silently.
The tension must be unbearable. He tries to speed up, slow down. The figure matches him. Then he sees it clearly.
Mounting a rise, silhouetted against the sky. He's horror-struck. The figure is headless and carrying the head on the saddle.
That's the iconic image. Pure terror. What does Ichabod do?
Pure panic. He kicks Gunpowder frantically. The horse bolts downhill. The saddle starts slipping. Ichabod's clinging on for dear life. He sees the church bridge ahead.
The bridge. Brum's story safety.
That's his only thought. If I can but reach that bridge, I am safe. He makes a desperate dash, thunders across the planks.
He looks back. The goblin is rising in his stirrups. It hurls the head at him.
No. What happens? It hits Ichabod's head with a tremendous crash. He's tumbled headlong into the dust. And Gunpowder, the black steed, the goblin rider, they pass by like a whirlwind. Gone.
Wow. What an ending to the ride. So the next morning, what's the scene?
Chaos, sort of. Gunpowder is found wandering near his master's gate, saddle off, but Ichabod vanished.
Do they search? What do they find?
They find the trampled saddle, horse tracks dug deep into the dirt, and by the brook near the bridge, Ichabod's hat.
It's a crucial clue.
A shattered pumpkin.
Shattered pumpkin, so not a head.
Seems not. But they search the brook, no body. Hans Van Ripper goes through Ichabod's few belongings, couple of shirts, razor, psalm book, and those books. Cotton Mather's Witchcraft History, a dream book, some bad poetry for Katrina.
How do the villagers interpret all this? The tracks, the hat, the pumpkin.
Well, the pumpkin is right there. But their minds are already leaning one way. Hans Van Ripper burns the magic books, saying no good comes from reading and writing.
He blames the education.
Pretty much. And the villagers, considering everything, the stories, the spot, Ichabod's known fears, they shook their heads and came to the conclusion that Ichabod had been carried off by the galloping Hessian.
They choose the supernatural explanation, despite the pumpkin.
Overwhelmingly. It fits their worldview, the atmosphere of the place. It's the better story, isn't it?
But Irving gives us another possibility, doesn't he? Years later.
He does. An old farmer comes back from New York with news. Ichabod Crane is alive and well.
Alive? So what's the story there?
The theory is he just left. Ran away. Partly scared of the goblin and maybe angry Hans Van Ripper, but also partly in mortification at being dumped by Katrina.
So humiliation and fear drove him away, not ghosts.
That's the rational explanation. And this source says he went on to become a lawyer, a politician, even a judge. Made something of himself after all.
Interesting. It offers a completely different, much more mundane ending for Ichabod. What about Brom Bones and all this?
Ah, Brom. Well, shortly after his rival's disappearance, he marries Katrina. No surprise there.
And his reaction when the Ichabod story is told.
That's the giveaway, isn't it? He always looked exceedingly knowing and would burst into a hearty laugh at any mention of the pumpkin.
He practically confesses the pumpkin was the head.
It seems incredibly likely. Brum, the master horseman and prankster, probably orchestrated the whole thing to scare Ichabod away for good.
Yeah. The legend persists in Sleepy Hollow, even with this likely explanation.
Oh, absolutely. The old country wives stick to the supernatural story. Ichabod was spirited away. It's still their favorite story. The bridge becomes feared, the schoolhouse haunted by Ichabod's ghost, singing psalms.
So the legend takes over, regardless of the probable facts.
Exactly. It shows the power of folklore. Sometimes the story is more important, more lasting than the truth. Hashtag check tag outro.
So, in the end, Irving leaves us hanging, doesn't he? Supernatural horror or brilliant prank?
He lays out both possibilities so well. You have the evidence for the prank, Brom's laugh, the pumpkin, the report of Ichabod being alive. But you also have the pervasive atmosphere, Ichabod's terror, the community's belief.
It makes you think about how stories shape a place and how a place shapes stories. It's not just about fear, it's about belief, rivalry, maybe even ambition, like Ichabod's.
Definitely. The story really captures how reality and imagination can blur, especially in a community so steeped in its own legends. It blurs for them, and reading it, it kind of blurs for us too.
Which brings up a point for you, our listener. Faced with ambiguous evidence like that hat and the pumpkin, what's your instinct? Do you lean towards the ghost story?
Or do you look for the rational explanation, the human motive behind it all? What does that choice say about how you see the world?
Maybe the real magic here is that Irving allows for both. He doesn't force an answer.
I think so. The story works because it lives in that space between the eerie and the earthly. It lets our own imaginations decide where Ichabod Crane really ended up.
It's a great reminder that the most powerful stories are often the ones that keep us guessing.
So next time you hear a local legend, maybe think of Sleepy Hollow. Is it real terror? A clever trick.
Or maybe, just maybe, it's a bit of both, layered together, keeping the mystery alive.